All right. Shalom, everyone. Shalom. Shalom, Dante.
Shalom, shalom. Who's that pretty little girl?
This is Ariel. Ariel is here with us. Fell asleep early, so she's up.
She's like, I took a little nap.
Yeah, this is Brother Ben. Ben, this is Dante.
Hey Dante,
What's
how you
up,
doing?
Brad, you
Alrighty.
don't all right. Ben, this is Brad. Mike, Brother Ben.
Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, so we're gonna do a little Q&A, see what topics we get in with that, see how Yah moves, brings us to where he wants us to be. Go ahead, Mike, you say you wanted to
Yeah. Yeah, just wanted to know if we could maybe review some history regarding the conflict in the current state of Israel. Just how that, came about. And maybe any scriptures that would tie to it. I know about Christ's prophecy, and I think that's in Matthew and Luke.
yeah.
But yeah, just and more so like currently the history of the conflict going on.
Yeah. So let me see if I can find this video real quick. I want to share a video on kind of the initiation of this whole situation over there. Let me see if I could.
Truth Unedited just dropped a video on it tonight, just now.
Oh yeah?
I was wondering if he was gonna come out with it on Friday, because I know he did one last year.
Right.
But I guess he couldn't wait.
He did literally just drop 12 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It says something about is the war in Israel part of Bible prophecy?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're about to talk about it too. You guys let me know if he says the same thing or something different. Oh, I may watch it after.
Yeah, I'll watch it later on tonight.
You better not, Brad.
Listen here, pal. Buddy, old pal of mine.
Man. Hey, Johnny, you got to talk to Brad about being more hospitable. You know what I'm saying? He came out for Sukkot in a little old tent, man. I was like, bro.
Being hospitable?
Yeah, man. I'm surprised, he got in the tent, man. Feet was hanging all out.
I was in one of them colored brown tents.
I'm playing with you.
And
Was that me?
I said we could have chipped in a couple bucks to get you a bigger tent so your feet didn't have to hang out, man.
Hey, I had to let him breathe, man.
Right.
I didn't take a shower all week.
Yeah.
Y'all see my tent behind me?
All right. So here's one of the biggest issues. Here is one of the biggest issues in regards to the idea, correlating what's going on in Israel. Sometimes people correlate everything with prophecy. Russian Ukraine is prophecy. Some of these things is not even prophecy. The only prophecy it is that there will be wars and rumors of wars. That's usually a lot of these things. Now, the issue that's going on in Israel is extremely important because it actually is not necessarily something that's prophetic. It's actually something that kind of is against what the popular view of prophecy says. What if you guys are familiar with what the church teaches, what Israel teaches, what the church teaches about what's going to happen when people attack Israel, like the Left Behind series and all of these other series, what would they usually show? Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, they showing that. My bad. They showing that they're gonna be protected. You know what I mean? That
Right.
they're gonna be, and it's like the complete opposite right now. Not only
Right.
that, but they're not even of one accord. So
Right.
how can you want
Right.
to protect them? Can't even do it.
Absolutely.
Deep
Absolutely.
faith, stop believing.
Right. Right. So you have all of these people that don't believe in Messiah. You have the Prime Minister of Israel. He's not even a believer in even the Jewish religion. He's not even a believer in Judaism. He's just a political guy. So you have all of these prophecies saying that when people attack Israel, then Yah is gonna step in, block all the bombs and all the stuff, and nothing is gonna happen to Israel. And then this big Antichrist guy, Nikolai, is gonna come and start the big new world order thing. Now, right now, you got everybody going crazy. You got a bunch of evangelicals begging people to pray for Israel, in regards to different things like that. Now, the situation with Israel, the history on Israel is not Ishmael and Isaac. The history on is, I'm going to show a little bit of history on it prophetically. Show some signs as well, some signs and weird things that goes on. I have a couple of videos I wanted to show you guys. Well, I don't. I just thought about it since Mike asked that question. Go ahead, Dante.
I was just gonna let you know. I sent a link to my siblings in the family group chat because my mom had asked about it. So if you see some random names and numbers pop up,
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But that was it. I'm sorry.
No, you good. So first, let's look at this prophecy here. Let's look at this prophecy here. Start at the beginning of the setting up of nations, Genesis chapter 10. And it talks about the sons of Japheth, right? The sons of Japheth in Genesis 10, verse 2, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Havan, Tubal, Meshech, Tiras, and one of the sons of Gomer is this word here, Ashkenaz, Rippath, Torgma. Now it says here in verse 5, these were the isles of the nations, the coast, by the coast of the nations divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, and after their nations. You see Cush, right? Cush is Ethiopia. This is the sons of Ham. Mitzrayim is Egypt, right? Canaan is Canaan. Canaan is the name, the founder of the Canaan land, or where Israel is now. But I wanted to show you this, right? Ashkenaz is one of the sons of Japheth. And let me show you this prophecy that Noah gives about Japheth. It says here, when Noah wakes up in verse 24 of Genesis 9, Noah wakes up and he says, and he knew what his younger son had done to him. So he said, cursed be Canaan, which we know is the son of Ham. Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. He said, blessed be Yahuwah Elohim of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. Israel comes from Shem. Canaan is the land that will serve Israel. This is because Canaan is cursed. That's the only reason why this land is promised to Israel, because Canaan is cursed. So it says here, Elohim shall enlarge Japheth, he shall dwell in the tents of Shem. So Japheth is going to live in the dwelling place of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant, meaning Canaan is going to house the sons of Japheth. Now, when in scripture did it show that Japheth or the sons of Japheth lived in Canaan? It doesn't, because it was very, very specific. The Hamites, the Canaanites, everybody that was there, the Amorites, those were all Hamites. So where did Japheth's sons come from? Well, guess what? Japheth's son is Ashkenaz. You know where Ashkenaz lived?
Russia, Europe.
Germany.
The coast of Germany, to the coast of Russia, to the coast of Poland. You know where the Jews that's occupying Canaan now come from? They come from Germany. They come from Russia. They come from Poland. Let me see if I can pull this up. You know what they refer to themselves as?
Ashkenazi.
Ashkenazi
Jews.
Jew. Let me see if I can pull this up.
So Jadiel, you know, I want to ask, what do you have to say about when Dr. Michael Brown and people like that say, oh, he just chose that name?
Well, yeah. Well, no, he's not really. He's not really. He's a Christian. He's not really about the depths of Judaism. The depths of Kabbalah and Judaism and Zionism wouldn't even allow him to become a Christian. Like that, he has to not be familiar with what the reality is, or he's not telling the truth. You know, and that's the bottom line. People who think that they are knowledgeable, when they don't really want to believe it, they tend to look at what we just read. I've never heard anybody try to explain Genesis 9 with the prophecy that the sons of Japheth will also be in Canaan and living in the tents of Shem. Because Yah said that Israel is going to be scattered in the four corners, and Noah said Japheth is going to be living in Canaan. So I have never heard anybody try to talk about this prophecy. I've even spoken to Jewish people that profess to be Ashkenazi Jew, and they'll tell you that they came from Poland. They came from there.
Yeah.
So it says Ashkenazi, meaning that they descend from the Jews who lived in Central and Eastern Europe. The term initially used to define a distinct cultural group of Jews who settled in the 10th century in Rhineland and Western Germany. The DNA of insights, it even says the Ashkenazi Jew so if you notice, look, who established communities among the Rhine and the Western Germany and Northern France in the Middle Ages, formed in the Roman Empire. Look at how, let me see if I can take this off. Look at how far away from history we see this. This is the earliest understanding of where the Ashkenazi Jews is from. Northern France, Western Germany, Polish right here, like Russia, Slovakia, Ukraine. So you see, like, this is the earliest history that they have. There's a guy that walks around in Israel, asking people about their heritage, about the origin of their heritage. And they don't have any information before Germany. They don't have any information before Russia or Poland. Secondly, the understanding of the migration. They're believing that they were migrating. When Jerusalem was destroyed and they put them into slavery. They put them in bondage. They didn't casually migrate up to Europe. You see what I'm saying? This is the mindset that they casually left and migrated up there and left Canaan. Like, there's no thought about the fact that the Romans came in, destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD, dispersed them. But Yah's people, Messiah told them to leave, right? So Yah's people occupying Africa, right? The migration of Israelites when they were destroyed, migrating from north, either northwest Africa or East Asia, which is why they call it the, Asiatic. They refer to it as Asiatic because it's right there at the border. So the idea that the Ashkenazi, right, the people on the coast, the term for Germans, the Germany area was Ashkenazi. The son of Japheth is Ashkenaz. The prophecy is that the sons of Japheth will dwell in the tents or the dwelling place of Shem.
What's going on?
So the idea that they call themselves Ashkenazi just because is one of the silliest reasons. Is a very silly reason, for their claims. Like they're making claims that they've always been Judah, but then they adopt the title Ashkenaz. Why would you do that? Why would you adopt another person's name over your whole people? Unless that is who you are, that is where you're from, that's your identity. So go ahead, Dante.
So like, how did the world just let them do this? You know what I'm saying? It's
Well,
just banana. Huh?
keep going. I'm gonna look for the thing I wanted to show you.
And it's just bananas because like even if you look up the definition of Israeli, like nothing it talks about people who hold citizenship in modern Israel. Like it doesn't,
Right.
there's like no connection. And like even when you look up the term Jewish, it's like it's all these like just thinking about the mental gymnastics they have to do to justify these words. You know what I'm saying? Even when defining them, it just kind of blows my mind.
But here's the beauty of here's the craziness of deception is that they don't need to define nothing for you. They just need to tell you, right? So if you go to Israel now and you ask them how did they determine their genealogy, you know what they'll say? They'll say from their mother.
And yeah, and that doesn't even line up with the Bible and numbers.
Right. The scripture doesn't line up genealogy from the mother. It lines it up through the father. I mean, we see that all throughout the Torah, all throughout the Chronicles, Numbers, right? You even see it in Matthew and Luke. Genealogy based off of the father's name, right? The father's name, not just bloodline, the father's name. So this guy was walking around Canaan or Israel, asking this guy. Now, this guy is already a citizen, right? He's an Israeli citizen, but he's not he doesn't follow Judaism. He's an atheist, he said. So when he started breaking down why, he's just like, well, these guys, first, they're finding your genealogy based off of your mother. That's not what the Bible said. So the reason why he's an atheist is because of all of the contrary things they're doing according to the Torah. They're doing so many things contrary to the Torah that this person decided not to even believe in the Torah. And he's a citizen. Other people, they don't even know how far back the genealogy is. The guy asked them these things, and you can find this on YouTube. The guy asked them, the guy was going around asking Hasidic Jews, the ones with the curls and the black top hats, saying, hey, how do you know you from Judah? They say this is what my mother told me. These are the older people now. The older people are saying this is what my mother told me. And then you have these professors that got to kind of help everybody remember by getting all these documents and all these historic mumbo jumbo, rather than looking at the documents. And it says, I don't know if I'm a true Jew because they only have my mother's genealogy. And how did they determine if my mother was a Jew? Or if her father was a Jew, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many unknowns. But you said, how does the world let them do this? I'm going to show you in a second. Brother Ben, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was just saying that going back to what you said about the atheist, like the reason he's atheist is because there's so much hypocrisy. You can't even prove who you are. I think a lot of people actually in my life, I'm sure the same with yours. There's people in my life that tell me, well, Catholicism and Christianity is so fake. There's so much hypocrisy. You know what I mean? I think that's why the truth is so important, because like you can prove and show the truth in your daily life, like that's what they need to see. I mean, they don't want to see that Catholicism and Christianity. They want to see something real. So, and be able to prove without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the problems really start. You know what I mean? So,
Jojo, have you looked into the Rothschild family and how
That's
the
what I was
Jews-
gonna. That's exactly what I was gonna bring up.
Didn't
About
mean to
forget-
jump.
The letter. I was looking for the video. The letter that the Zionists, like that's what they refer to themselves as, the state of Israel, the Israeli state, and the Zionist group, was thanking the Rothschilds for helping them get back into Israel, Palestine, right? Or what it was Palestine at the time. So what happened was the United Nations came and started to illegally remove Palestinians for the Zionists. But remember, they thanked the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds was one of the families existed before 1776, by the way. Before 1776, there was Rothschilds, Vanderbilts, Rothschilds, and a couple other families. So why does America do it? It don't matter what Americans say. The Rothschilds is they're already running it. Media. There was a big influx of videos of what the Israeli soldiers was doing to Palestinians when they was knocking them out of the land illegally, by the way. Knocking them out of the land because they conquered it, right? They lived there. That's how it is. So the United Nations came, not Yah, because remember, Yah didn't use them to deliver the nations and the Palestinians into Israel's hands. Yah did not have any part in no Rothschilds, Vanderbilts, none of that. What happened was the Zionists came up with some system, and you can just see it manifesting, some system that they decided to use and utilize through the Zionist movement. So they utilize the Zionist movement in order to perpetuate even more control. That area in Israel is very necessary, is very needed, especially for whatever they're trying to do. You know what I mean? The weapons that they have is extremely high tech, and the United States is assisting them. Matter of fact, in this whole Hamas attack, the United States is already sending warships over there to see if they can kind of stick their noses in with Iran. But I'm going to show you another prophecy. But yeah, Sister Jamie, right on point. I was going to bring up the Rothschilds because Dante asks, why are they letting them do this? Well, they don't have no other choice. That's the plan. We don't even know if the plan was to let them come and shoot up this town so they could wage war. We don't even know if they shot up their own town so they could blame it on them and wage war. You guys remember what happened to the Twin Towers? You remember? You remember the weapons of mass destruction that they went and didn't find? Right? But they did something in order for them to run in there, and they was able to run in there, and they found nothing but gold and oil, by the way. No weapons, but some oil. So we gotta, it's not about every time these things happen, people always trying to connect these things to prophecy, and prophecy is very, very specific. This is not Ishmael and Isaac fighting each other. This is not. This is a game. But let me go to some hands real quick. Go ahead, brother Brad.
Yeah, didn't to Jamie's point with the Rothschilds, didn't they actually purchase the land from Palestine?
Say that again.
Didn't they actually purchase some of that land from Palestine? The
I don't know,
Rothschilds?
but I could guarantee it, they probably did. I don't
Yeah, I
have.
think there was
I don't.
actually. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, brother.
Let me see if Jamie could answer that. Go ahead. Do you guys have any information? I saw you guys, Ben and Jamie.
Yeah. So my understanding is that the Rothschild family owned it, and they actually, I believe, and don't quote me, look this up, but I believe they sold it to the United Nations, who then put it into Jewish hands, whenever all of this got set up, so to speak. So that's my understanding, but actually Truth Unedited, Ron from Truth Unedited does give more information on that, and then I just confirmed it.
Praise God. Praise God.
Yeah, I know he does quite a bit of videos on recently on that stuff.
Yeah. Now that's pretty crazy. The idea that they owned it, that's why they're thanking them, because they owned it, but they own a lot of stuff. They own a lot of stuff that we don't even really could fathom. So let me go to Dante. Go ahead, Dante.
You know what's crazy? Y'all know I used to work in the media, right?
Mm-hmm. No.
And we one of my coworkers, she was Jewish, and I remember it was right when I started. I just gotten baptized in the church that I was attending, and I was reading, and the word Hebrew, the Israelites came up, and so I didn't understand any of it, and I asked her, I said, so y'all one of the 12 tribes, y'all like Hebrews? She got so offended, right? And like in my head, I was like, why is she getting so offended? Like, if this is supposed to be like their history, like, and she was like, and she was like borderline getting ready to call me anti-Semitic, and I was literally just trying to understand. And like, it was just bananas because I was talking to a few of them up here, and they're getting all into Israel and everything. And I was just like, well, I was like, what about the other tribes? Oh, we don't call ourselves tribes anymore. Where the other branches of Israel? And it's so interesting, just the explanation that goes into it. And it just, I don't know, it just honestly just makes me like leery of even having conversations like with them, with just the nature, just how they take the information and how they apply anti-Semitism and how they explain everything. It's just like bananas. That's the part that's just been so bananas to me, is like even just sitting down and having those conversations.
Yeah, the definition of anti-Shemitic and being against, according to their understanding of who's Palestine and the Muslim nations, to be against the Muslims is to be anti-Shemitic as well,
Yeah.
because they're one of the children of Abraham, which is the children of Shem. So to be against the Muslims will also be anti-Shemitic. So it's interesting how the moment Israel needs help or something like along those lines, United States churches, everybody's up in arms, because this is what they've been drilling in our heads for so long. This is what they've been establishing so long, in the media and all of that. And oh, by the way, the Rothschilds own the media, like they own all the media. So whatever they want to perpetuate, so if you worked in the media and you saw Hebrews, the Rothschild owns all of those things, and there's a Zionist kind of promotion on there. Let me go to Sister Helena.
I've been confused because even on social media, they say pray for Israel. But also I hear other people saying that Israel wants that Gaza land like you remember
Right.
Hill in South Carolina. You know that the people had lived there for so many years. Dante and Karen went to visit there. Dante, what is it called in South Carolina? Hill what?
What are you talking about?
You know where
I,
y'all went, huh? Where y'all
how,
went to vacation at?
are you
And
talking
y'all
about
went,
Oh, Hilton
huh?
Head? Hilton Head?
Hilton Head?
Yes, Hilton Head, South Carolina. And a lot of the people that lived there, because I do believe it was the rich wanting that land, the beaches and stuff for the resorts. So they raised the taxes and pushed them out. But I'm thinking that in Gaza, that it's about that beach land, and they want to turn it into Israel, want to turn it into a big tourist. And even though, like you said, that what we're seeing on the news, and they're always on social media, pray for Israel. But I'm just getting to the point. I'm just saying, Lord, what is happening here? Reveal it. Because
Right.
I'm wondering if they want that Israel may have did this to get that land, and that's what it could be about.
Right. It definitely is about the land, it's about the occupying. They're trying to get that temple, that
Uh,
that mountain that's over there that they believe
mm-hmm.
is Sinai. Um there's a lot of different things. Now I'm more aware of the political side over here, and I don't even know the depths of what they're trying to take over there. Everybody is looking over there in Israel. The Palestinians are waiting for Messiah to come over there to Israel. The Jews are waiting for Messiah to pop up there, right? The
Mm-hmm.
Christians are waiting for Messiah to pop up there. Everybody's is looking over there. And then the main thing that Messiah says in Matthew 24 was, if somebody says Messiah is here or there, do not go. But everybody keeps saying he's going to pop up over there, and everybody's over there watching over there. This is a
And
distraction.
yes. And that was my next question, and you answered that. You did very good by quoting that scripture, because I was going to ask, why are people running there? Because in the Bible, it tells us, every eye shall see.
Yes, right. Every eye will see him. It's not going to be no secret rapture. It's going to be noticed. Everyone will see him. Everyone will acknowledge it. So this is it's contrary. It's contrary to what scripture is revealing, but Satan is going to use that misunderstanding to his advantage. Everybody's looking for a third temple as well. And you have these Jews building a third temple. You have the Christians waiting on the third temple, saying that that's when the Messiah is going to come back. You have all these different claims that's not scriptural. United Nations came in 1947. Everybody keeps saying that that's a fulfillment of prophecy for Israel. When it's like, how can you look at the United Nations kicking another country out for you as prophecy? Y'all never had to use no wicked nations to kick out another wicked nation. That's not how y'all would do it. If they wanted their land, they would go back and they would take their land back themselves. But Yah didn't say that he was going to give back their land. He never said that. He said that he's going to gather his people from the four corners of the earth. Why would he gather his people from the four corners of the earth? Well, because they're not going back to their land in 1947. So what was going on? They're trying to put in this people to perpetuate a certain idea, a certain way of being. So I want to show a few. I'm gonna go to a few verses. Go ahead, brother Ben and Jamie.
The thing that really started to wake me up to who they were is that, or weren't, however you want to say that, is everything they do is against the Father, against the Torah. their flag has like one of, and you would know much better than me, so keep that in mind. Like, from my understanding, one of the worst witchcraft symbols there is
right
on their, and what does the Father say not to do? Or the fact that the Bible's translated, they will claim they are Jews and are not, but it should be they will claim they are Yahudim and are not, and do lie. And you watch them and they take the Torah and they twist it into a jumbled mess with the Talmud and all their men's traditions, and they don't believe in Messiah, and everything they're doing is just against the, and plus the fact that they claim Hashem means the name, but I think it's a different God entirely, or a different false God entirely. And when you look at it, it's just every example, every way that they live their lives is contrary to what the Father says. So
right, and that's Hashem does mean the name, but whose name? It's like saying, in God we trust, but what God? What do you talk? Who are you talking about? You're not talking about Yah.
No.
Guarantee you don't trust in Yah. You see what I'm saying? So it's like they're utilizing good things to promote their false ideas. Where did they shoot up? Where did the Hamas shoot up? Was it Tel Aviv?
No, not Tel Aviv. They haven't reached Tel Aviv. I think when they shot up, I don't know I know that Tel Aviv is close to the capital. Like that's more in inland if you want to.
Yeah.
we'll look it up for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know that they were bombing, they were shooting up some festival that was going on, and I know that there's a lot of like partying and gay parties and gay parades at Tel Aviv. You know, it's interesting that Tel Aviv is a name of a city in Babylon in the scripture. So while they were in captivity, there was a city in Babylon called Tel Aviv. Probably they named it or so. So to bring that name from Babylon and try to place a city in Jerusalem or Israel there, Tel Aviv. I know that Trump went there and said that the new capital was Jerusalem or something along those lines, where they were saying that Jerusalem is now the capital instead of Tel Aviv or something along those lines. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, brother. I just want to let y'all know that I put 3 links in the chat. If y'all didn't notice it.
Okay, cool.
In regards to the Rothschilds and Vanderbilts and all that, and Rockefellers.
Thank you, Brad, because I already saved those so I can read up on it later. Because I was trying to look at that too, look it up.
Look at this video right here. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So look at what this crow is doing. Look at what he does.
Oh, wow. It's crazy, Jody. Correct me if I'm wrong and anybody else. They call that the Star of David. But what's ironic is that was an insignia that King Solomon used for he had on a ring, wasn't it?
What, that Star of David?
Yes. Well, it's not a Star of David because that actually has nothing to do with David. That actually had more to do with Solomon.
Oh no, it had nothing to do with Solomon at all. That's a pagan symbol. 6-point star is a pagan symbol. It has nothing to do with a signet that Solomon had. That was Solomon didn't have no ring that destroyed demons. I think that was one of the ideas that Solomon had, that people had of Solomon. Those stories actually are Kabbalah based.
So the Freemasons actually give homage to King Solomon.
Say that again?
As being They actually talk about King Solomon. The Freemasons do.
The Freemasons, yeah. Absolutely.
And that was one of the insignias was that
Right. Well, the Freemasons, they believe in Babylonian mysticism and Kabbalah. They put all those things together. Including Quran, they put all of those elements together. But the teachings on Solomon is not based off of scripture or any real thing. It's based off of these mystical or these mysticism practices, like Babylonian mixed with the Kabbalah, mixed with Talmud, mixed with Quran. That's why one of the groups of Freemasons are Shriners. The Shriners are the ones with the Arabic. Yeah, they have the Arabic sword with the tassel.
Right.
They got the tassels on.
Yep, I got one. I got. I see what you did there. I got a neighbor right next door that's a Shriner, man.
Yeah, and they walk around with that big red hat with the Arabic sword and the Arabic words on it. Yeah, that's one of the highest levels is the Quran based. There's a Bible based Freemason traditional where they read Genesis in between the lines. Then the higher up you get, you start to see that the devil was actually trying to free the minds of the people. And then you have the next element, which is Quran, and then you have the next element, which is Kabbalah. And they put all those things together. This is why you see the three main religions in this whole movement is the Pope, the Zionists, and the Muslim prime ministers. The Pope literally went to all three of these guys before this whole situation happened in order to kind of collect them all for whatever they're talking about privately. It's for the purpose of creating a religious political power. The New World Order is not a political thing. It's a religious political, meaning like they're dealing with the conscience of people. They're not dealing with forcing people's hand with fines and, financial only. I'm not saying they're not. I'm saying only. They're dealing with the control of the conscience, the control of the belief system. So if you have people creating coexist, right? Let's all put our beliefs together. Let's all believe the same things. We all believe in the same God. This is what they're promoting because they need this element in order to have a new world order. You cannot control the people if you do not control them religiously. It won't work because the people will stand on what they believe, even if what they believe is wrong. Their convictions of what they believe spiritually or religiously, I would say, is what fuels them to stand up against even, the most worst tyrant. The Muslims would die for their beliefs being wrong in their beliefs. They would blow up a government official building to stand on what they believe. So they cannot approach the world politically anymore. They have to combine the political and the religious aspect together. This is why there has to be a forerunner. Revelation 13, it talks about a forerunner that's going to create an image of the beast. And then that image of the beast, he's going to promote this to the whole earth, saying to the earth, let's create an image unto the beast. So what's the image of the beast? If you understand that the beast is Rome, then you understand that the Rome is a political religious entity. It is not just a religious entity. Vatican City is a political power. It's one of the richest powers. And that little 124-acre section, Vatican City, is its own separate country. It's one of the richest countries, and is one of the most influential political powers in the world. Vatican City. And it's only 124 acres big. Like people are selling 124 acres around here. He has his own army. He has his own government. He is the king of Vatican City. Like he's the one that makes the laws there. The Roman government, they can't mess with the Vatican City. So you have Rome and you have the papacy, which is Catholicism. Religious, political. I remember when the Pope came to Yankee Stadium. People said he moved his hand in a certain direction and people's knees was getting weak. Who you saw doing that? Now, who else does what the Pope does? Move their hand and people's knees getting weak. Oh, the evangelicals. They'll wave their hand across the crowd and people get weak. Where do you think they got it from? They're just the daughters. And she's the mother. She's the mother of harlots. And you know what they're gonna do? Let me show you this verse. It says, Babylon is great, is fallen, and it's become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, a cage of every unclean and hateful birds. And we saw the video, even the hateful birds don't, even the unclean birds don't even want dealing with them. It says, all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, unlawful union with her. The merchants or the banks of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins and that you receive not her plagues. Babylon is not America. Babylon is not America. Babylon existed, or the entity referred to as Babylon existed before America existed. It is America that's going to, let's go back to that. It is America that's going to come out of the earth, not out of the sea, out of the earth, right? Let me just make this clear, right? I'm talking quick because I know that we're familiar with certain things. If you look at Daniel chapter 7, go back and check that out. You're going to see that all the beasts that came into power are rising out of the sea or the waters. The waters represent a multitude of people. Revelation 17 says that the waters are multitudes of peoples, tongues, and nations. Revelation 17 gives us the definition of waters. Every beast, which is a kingdom, every kingdom rises out of a multitude of people during war. Right? Babylon, then Persia came in, took over Babylon, right? Then Greece came in, took over Persia, right? War. Then Rome came in, took over Greece. This beast rises out of the earth. And the earth represents scarcity. You know, it represents a very small population. It doesn't represent a multitude, it represents a small population. What nation in the history of the world rose up from a small group of people? Because every nation that exists rose, every empire, I would say, every superpower rose into power through war, through conquering, through a multitude of armies. How did this country become a superpower? How did they rise up? 13 colonies, Revolutionary War. Very few people. This is not a multitude. Then the Civil War. How did this country start? It started with scarcity. Who did they mimic? Who did this country mimic? If you look around, this country mimicked Rome. The White House looks like the Vatican. The monument, the memorial, the what's that long obelisk? The long pagan obelisk that represents Tammuz's genitals.
I don't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking
Is that Washington Memorial? Or is it
Washington
Yes.
Memorial.
Washington Memorial, right? Right outside of the Vatican, you see an obelisk with the sun on the floor, and there's an obelisk with a ball and a cross at the top, just like and it mimics the United States government. I think the United States created their roads a certain measurement, the same as the Roman roads. The way that the Romans made their roads, it's the same method.
Huh.
So when you're looking at this, United States is mimicking Rome. They're creating a image or a copy. That word image, where it says image of the beast, that word image means copy. So it says that he, right here in verse 12, he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and he causes the earth and them that dwells therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. So many people see the United States. The United States is like the forerunner. They're causing, they're influencing, right? So they're like, oh, America is Babylon. But the scripture says that the only thing that this influence is doing is causing everybody to go worship the first beast before him. You see that? So everybody's looking at America like, oh, look at America. He's the forerunner. He's the forerunner. He's the forerunner. And you should be aware of America. But America is influencing every nation to copy the beast that was before him.
Makes sense.
What empire ruled before 1776? Matter of fact, what empire ruled until around the 1790s? It was the Roman Empire. Who came here? Who came to this country historically from what they say, religious persecution? Who was persecuting these people religiously? It was Rome, the Roman Catholic Church, the papacy.
That's right.
Who caused the Dark Ages? Was it the Caesars? Nope. It was the Holy Roman Empire, the Christian era. When the empire supposedly became Christian and the Bishop of Rome had the influence to get rid of all these heretics and these witches that they were burning. Who are these witches? How many people got burned up because they disagreed with the Catholic Church's doctrines? So guess what? We're going to make an image, a copy of this, and guess what? Whoever doesn't take the mark will be killed. Just like the Dark Ages.
So who are the witches? I'm sorry, I think I missed something.
There's no such thing as witches. It's whoever they wanted to claim to be witches, those are the ones they burn.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So they would throw you in the water, and if you float, you was considered a witch, and they'll burn you. And if you sink and drown, you were innocent. But remember, they control the mind of the people. So they would be like, they were in control of purgatory. They created purgatory. They created indulgences where you could pay to get people out of hell. They created hell just for the purpose of collecting tribute. This is what's going to happen right now. This is what's going to happen with these churches. These churches are going to manifest whatever their mother is telling them to do. And right now, the mother says the law is done away with. They say the law is done away with. The mother gives them Sunday. They think that they could find Sunday in Scripture. You understand? Like, Scripture is not. These people are trying to create the same dynamic they had in the past, but even more advanced. They're going to fornicate with the kings of the earth. They're going to make drunk the nations. Those are two different things. The nations being drunk with the wrath of her fornication is the nations being drunk with the abominable beliefs that they possess. Them fornicating with the kings of the earth is that they are going to have unlawful union with political leaders, and making the merchants rich is them making the banks rich. You know that they pay, United States pay tithes to the Vatican, right?
No.
United States pay tithes to the Vatican. So there's a lot of stuff that, a lot of wicked nations is involved in, but the last empire that was there when Yah sets up his kingdom in Daniel chapter 2 was the feet, right? You have the statue that Nebuchadnezzar dreamt. You have the gold head, then you have the silver, then you have the brass, and then you have the iron, and then you have the iron and clay. And they all represented the different nations, the empires that will rule the world until Yah sets up his kingdom, which is that stone that hits the feet. We know that the gold is Babylon, the silver is Persia. We can read it in scripture. The next empire to rule was Persia, then the next empire to rule was Greece, and the iron was Rome. But the iron in the feet was Rome mixed with other things. So by the time that Yah sets up his kingdom, Rome will still be the major influential power in this world. So when Yah sets up his kingdom, Rome will be here perpetuating its abominations, its wickedness, false doctrines, and the only thing that Rome uses to twist is the Bible. Rome doesn't use the Quran to twist the Quran. For what? It's already false. Rome takes the scriptures to twist the scriptures. And then you know what they do? They walk around like they're priests, and they tell you to call them Father. And they tell you that they can forgive your sins. So that way you don't have to go to Yah. Instead of being an intercessor between you and Yah, they tell you not to go to Yah, but to go to them. Instead of interceding, they intercept. They intercept your relationship between you and Yah. And the churches are perpetuating the same idea. The churches are, you come to the pastor, you come to the elders. The church has set up a creed of doctrines that if you don't believe this creed, then you're not really a part of them. They created an orthodox Christianity where if you don't believe a set of rules, including the Trinity, then you're not really a believer in Messiah. You're a heretic. This is the same manifestation as the Catholic Church did in the Dark Ages. But you know what everybody's looking at? Everybody's looking at Russia. Everybody's looking at political stuff, when in actuality, the enemy is already good politically. But if they execute it before they control the conscience, all the people that believe in something is going to stand up against the government. So they're waiting for the conscience to be consumed. They're waiting for your freedom of choice and thought to be consumed. What do you think the Democrats are doing now? What do you think they're doing now? Freedom of this, freedom of this, freedom of this. You know what they're doing? They're calling sin. They're changing the name of sin, and they're calling it freedom of choice. I choose to do this. I'm going to just do this. You could do that. I'm going to do this. But what they're doing is sin, not choice. They're choosing sin. So it's like, what are they doing? They're trying to keep you quiet. They're trying to keep you from offending. Pronouns, all of this other crazy stuff just to control your conscience, to make you sensitive to stuff that you should have indignation for. Things that you should despise, they want you to feel comfortable. They want to desensitize us so that way when all this evil is surrounding us, we'll feel comfortable in the midst. This is what this whole situation is about. So now everybody's a little confused. So people going to get right on it. You're going to have the Hebrew Israelites want to bring out prophecies that don't exist. You're going to have the churches pray. I saw a post that said, if your pastor's not telling you to pray for Israel, then you need to find out what's going on right now and leave that church. Like, what in the world? What is consuming you with Israel? What is consuming you with these nations. Let me go to Sister Helena, and then
Yeah, I wanted to say that because I was born and raised in Washington, D.C., and I was told in our government and history class, they had told us that land that they
yeah,
have the government buildings, it don't belong to us. It's
where
owned
which building
European
in
countries.
DC, right?
Yes, in
Yeah,
DC.
DC is not a part of America. DC is not a part of America. Neither is the land that the United Nations building is on. That's not a part of America either.
No,
It's
because
in the yeah.
they say that even though those buildings belong to DC, it's the land that it was built on. And so
Mm.
I'm saying that what you were saying about the Romans and how we
Oh,
built the
right.
building, but that land doesn't even belong to us because that land was already sold. And
Right.
guess what? They built the buildings and all the historical stuff on top of the land that
Right.
doesn't belong to us.
Right. Do you remember it was a few, I'm not sure if it was a couple years ago. Do you remember when Russia was threatening to come to the United States and they said, if you don't give us our money, then we're gonna take back California and Alaska.
Wow.
You guys remember that? When the United States was formulated, like different countries own different parts of the country. You know that, right? So France would own,
Yeah.
I think France,
Yeah.
Florida, and different parts, and then England, Britain.
Yes.
They own different ones. So I'm not sure the financial aspect of what was going on, but when they said, so because you guys didn't give us our money, we're gonna take back Alaska and I think parts of California. And the reality hit, like they bought this, but they don't really own it. So they're basically like strong arming people when they are in debt. We know United States is in debt, but now United States is strong arming people like, yeah, I'm not giving it back to you. I'm not gonna give you your money, or I'm not gonna give you back. So it's like they're a different system. They have to do a different move towards a different system, or they're gonna still keep being approached that way. They're gonna have to do some type of reset, or they're gonna keep being approached like, where's my money? Where's my money? Or give me back my land, So it's just interesting, all of the dynamic of the whole world and all of these nations and all these countries, and what is not really a part of this nation, and what the Zionists over there in Israel. These things are not, this is a scheme. This is a scheme and a plan to promote something that they've been thinking about since the Roman Empire was here. Before the United States government even exists, they've been developing this train of thinking. Like, how can I have complete control? How can I control more and more? One of the things that happened during the Holy Roman Empire was that the Muslims was burning down different parts of the Roman Empire. And they call it the Crusades. You remember they call it the Crusades, where it was the Roman Catholic Church or the Roman army that would have the crosses on the shields to, promote whatever their religion. And then they would go against the Muslims, and the Muslims would be burning the east side of Rome, and then they would go to the east side, and then the Muslims would go and burn the west side, and then the Vikings would come down. And a lot of this was based off of religious thought. Because they were conquering land, they wanted to make you think, say, hey, you have to believe what we believe, or you will die. The Roman Empire had 10 provinces. When the Roman Catholic Church came in, they ransacked three nations that were Arian, meaning that they didn't believe in a Trinity. They believed in that the Father was one, and then he gave his authority to his son. That's what they believed, and the Spirit came from them. This is what they believed, and they were killed for that. There's so many historical things, and that. But if you read Google about it, you'll read that they are the heroes of Christianity. That Justinian, one of the emperors of Rome, was one of the heroes, gave the army over to the Roman Catholic Church so they could remove all of those people that was against the truth. This is how history is told of the Roman Empire. Now, when you take a step back, you'll see why it's called the Dark Ages. Not because Justinian is a hero, but because these people with the Spanish Inquisition murdered millions of people. Not even on record, because they burned the records. But what we have on record is that it was millions of people. The Romans was burning believers, and then the so-called believers was burning other people that didn't believe what they believed. So it's a game to control, to put themselves in a position that they need to be in order to control the mind, in order to perpetuate this one world religious political authority, to cause the earth to create the same copy, the same image as Rome did, in order to perpetuate a bigger scheme. The Roman Empire was only one empire. Imagine the whole world perpetuating the same thoughts as the Roman Empire. Most of our major colleges are Catholic colleges. Most of our most expensive Ivy League colleges that all of these people go to, these political leaders, are Catholic colleges. Let's Brother Ben and Jamie.
Did you might have said it already, so I apologize if you did, but did you make a distinction between the beast and Mystery Babylon based on in your beliefs?
No, the beast, well, in Revelation 13, there's two separate beasts. There's the one that rises out of the sea, has the mouth of a lion, the dragon gives it its seat. That is Mystery Babylon. That beast is Mystery Babylon. The woman is riding on that beast. Let's go to that real quick. The second beast that's in Revelation 13 is a different one. Description is that it resembles something like a lamb. And I believe that the scriptures don't speak of any lamb like individual besides Messiah. So, you look at everybody perpetuating the idea that this nation started as a Christian nation or Messiah believing nation, right? So this nation rises up with horns and make it resemble a lamb. Remember, the beast is the nation, or the empire. So the description of this empire is supposed to describe the characteristics. So it says 2 horns like a lamb, but then it spoke as a dragon, meaning that what it perpetuated was what the dragon wanted it to do. So this is
on the back. When you see what money, they tell you what God they were created to serve. So.
Say that one more time.
When you see what's on the back of the dollar bill, you see
God
created to serve.
Absolutely. But this is just the second beast to perpetuate the ideas of this first one. So when you look at the first one, you have upon the heads of this 7-head beast is the name of blasphemy. Every characteristic that was in Daniel chapter 7, the leopard, which is Greece, the bear, which is Persia, the mouth of the lion, which is Babylon, right? And the dragon gave him his authority and seat in great authority. It says, I saw one of his heads as if it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, meaning is a perpetual. So he sees like, okay, this nation or this authority gets wounded, but then it says later on the nation gets its wound healed, and then all the world wonders after this beast. But how does everyone wonder after this beast? It brings us all the way down to this one where it says that this beast rises up, exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. This second beast is what is being used to bring everybody to follow behind this authority of this beast. Now, the mouth, the characteristics of the mouth is the characteristics of the teachings, the information, what it tells you to do. The lion represents Babylon. If you look in Revelation 7, the lion represents Babylon. This is why this beast here is called Babylon. So it says on the heads of all these heads is the name blasphemy. And if you look at Revelation 17, where it talks about the woman, it says, I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters. With the kings of the earth have committed fornication. What we read in Revelation 18. You see this? The beast that this woman is riding on have 7 heads and 10 horns, just like we read in Revelation 13. On this woman's head is Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. And then it says, I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints and the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered in great admiration. If you go back to Revelation 13, look at what this beast is doing. After everybody wonders after this beast, it says he opened his mouth in blasphemies against Elohim, to blaspheme the name and his tabernacle, them that dwell in heaven. And it says it was given to make war with the saints and overcome them. And the power was given to him over all the kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell on the earth worship him, whose names were not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. So Revelation 13, as well as Revelation 13 and Revelation 17 are coinciding, giving more details to the same superpower that's going to be in the last days. But the second beast is the one that rises up to perpetuate and influence the whole earth on behalf of this Roman Empire, of the Roman Empire. The United States is the forerunner of the Roman Empire.
So then your understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, but your understanding is that the beast and Mystery Babylon are one entity, as in the woman riding on the beast is one thing, or because the thing that confuses me is I can't tell if they're one entity or two working together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Revelation 17, it gives a more religious aspect because it's focused on the woman. If you notice, Revelation 12 also tells us about another woman, right? The woman in Revelation 12 is talking about the covenant of Yah. The covenant of Yah is what births Messiah. But it also births all of us. Like we are all the children of her, of that woman. That's what it says in Revelation 12. Let me see if I can bring you to real quick. These are excellent question, by the way. Look at this. So it says that there was a woman clothed with the sun, moon under her feet, and upon her head was 12 crowns. She being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. We know that that's Messiah because later on it says that there was another one, a dragon. It says a dragon, but it's talking about like a monster, a scarlet colored or a red monster having 7 heads and 10 horns. This is the same description that's in Revelation 13 and Revelation 17. Remember, it says that this dragon gives her seat. Remember that? So look at this. This dragon, of course, is the enemy. but not the enemy directly. The enemy is utilizing a empire. So look at this. The dragon, look at verse 4. The dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered to devour her as soon as it was born. And then it says, and she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron. Her child was caught up to Elohim and to his throne. What nation was trying to kill the Messiah before he was born? Oh, I think she left. Probably will come back in. Does anybody know the answer to that? What nation was going to destroy or devour the man-child when he was born? It was the Roman Empire. So even though it says dragon, it was the Satan using the Roman Empire to kill Messiah. Remember, it was King Herod that ordered the death decree for all the children in Bethlehem. The governor of Rome. So watch this. I'm coming to you right now, Dante. When you look at the description of who the dragon is attempting to destroy, it says the dragon was wroth with the woman, and then it says, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, the remnant of her children, which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Messiah. Now, many people, they say that the woman is what they say, the church, but it says that the woman gives birth to the children. It gives birth to Messiah, and it also gives birth to her seed that keeps the commandments of Yah and has the faith in Yahushua. The covenant is what allows us to be birthed or born again. When we enter into that covenant, we are born again. The covenant is the woman. The dragon wanted to destroy the covenant. He wanted to twist up Yah's covenant in regards to his law, in regards to belief, in regards to every aspect of your relationship with Yah. This the enemy wanted to destroy. So this is the whole perspective. That the enemy wants to destroy the woman and the remnant of her seed. So what happened with the Roman Catholic Church? What did they do? They took the covenant, right? And then they twisted the covenant. They made themselves the priest. They even made themselves the father. You know what Pope means? Pope means father. They call themselves the father to forgive you of your sins. They made themselves priests walking around with incense. You know what they call the Eucharist with the cross, and you see the Messiah dead on it? They call that Eucharist. They call it the tabernacle. That's what they call it. The dwelling place of Yah is in that statue, guys. Who has done this to Yah's covenant? Who else? Who else did this to Yah's word? To take the covenant, which is that woman, wroth with the woman, and then now everybody that keeps the commandments of Yah and has the faith of Yahushua, he's wroth with them now because he can't touch the covenant. He can't affect the covenant. Messiah was born through that covenant, not through Jews. Like she didn't represent the Jew, like one of the Jews. You know, the Catholic Church say that woman represents Mary. So if that, and this is why they teach that all of us is the children of Mary, because her seed, Mary's seed, is all of us, according to the Catholic Church teaching. So this is the main idea. Let me distort this covenant. Let me destroy this word. Let me pollute and confuse his word. Nobody does that. You can't take false doctrines. You can't take false religions. I'm sorry. Nobody can be a harlot or an unfaithful bride that never had the scriptures, that never had a covenant with Yah. You can only be unfaithful if you used to be faithful. Right? How can you be unfaithful? You're not even married to the person that you're that you're talking about. The Muslims was never married to Yah to be the harlot. The Hindus, the New Age, they were never connected to Yah to now commit adultery. So what about Rome? Well, historically, they can trace Rome all the way back to the Bishop of Rome from the book of Romans. The assembly that was established in the book of Romans, they can trace their history, the origin of their organization back to when the disciples established the church in Rome or the assembly in Rome. But Paul made it very clear in 2 Thessalonians. He says, the mystery of iniquity is working, and it's already working. It's already starting to work. Who was in power at the time? It was Rome. So he was saying, is already happening. What's going to happen in the future is already starting to happen now. The falling away that he talks about, the falling away must come first. How do you fall away if he was never there? Rome fell away. There was assemblies all over. Remember, Paul made assemblies all over. What did the Bishop of Rome do? The Bishop of Rome gained favor with Constantine. After they gained favor with Constantine, then Constantine told them to establish their ideas politically. And then after a while, guess what the Bishop of Rome started doing? Making the bishop in Ethiopia, the bishop in Corinth, the bishop everywhere else had to submit to the bishop in Rome. And if they did not submit to the bishop in Rome, they would utilize the Roman army to go over there and slaughter them. Check out the story about this group called the Waldenses. This family called the Waldenses, living in the mountains. They used to raise their children, and then their children used to go out and preach doctrines against the Bishop of Rome. And they just ran up in that village and threw them all off the mountain. This is the type of evil that we're dealing with. So anyway. But anyway, so I'm not sure. Ben and Jamie, I know you guys left out and popped back in.
Yeah, my phone died, so I had to turn it back on.
Anyways, thank you for answering it, and we'll watch the recording.
Okay. Yeah, so I think is when you see the correlations between Revelation 17:13 and the dragon in Revelation 12 has the same attributes as the beast that the woman is riding on. I showed that the dragon, even though they're referred to as a dragon, the beast that was waiting for the man-child to be born to devour him, that beast or that dragon was utilizing the empire of Rome to kill Messiah. It was King Herod that killed all of those children that was trying to kill the baby when he was born. So when you correlate those two ideas, you'll see that the dragon was using Rome, and that same description of the dragon is the same description of the beast in Revelation 17. And Revelation 13, it says that the dragon gave her seat, gave the beast its seat and authority. So there is two elements to the beast. There's the political and there's the religious. The political is the beast, that the moving factor, the aspect of the empire, how the empire moves, how the empire does things, right? And then you have the woman riding the beast, which is something that's steering the empire in a certain direction, in a certain way, is the influence of the beast. So if the beast is the Roman Empire, there's a woman that influences the Roman Empire. What is that woman? That woman is the Roman Catholic Church. There's no other influence in Rome than the Roman Catholic Church. or Pope Francis. So we're gonna try to see if we could do like a putting all these pieces together in regards to prophecy, because I believe that this whole thing is still just a perpetual, distraction. Like, I'm gonna continue to distract you until I have everything set up, and then when I execute what I set up, it's gonna catch everybody off guard. Zionists, Russia, China, it's all a distraction. Everybody's gonna be lost in understanding what's going on. You know what prophecy? If Mike, if you're listening, the prophecy that I believe this is going to influence is the prophecy about the famine of the word of Yah. Because people are going to go back and forth trying to find this situation in the scriptures, and it's going to distort all of their prophetic explanations. And they're not going to know what the scripture is saying. And it says that there's going to be a famine in the land, but not of bread and not of water, but a famine of the word of Yah. People are going to have a famine. They think they believe what they believe now, and what Yah is going to do is just show that they don't believe, that they don't know nothing yet. So they're going to be running to and fro looking for knowledge of what the scriptures say. And
what scripture is that, brother Jadiel?
Let me find it right now before we close. So everything that people believe in the scriptures is these things is going to cause it to come to nothing. And that's when people are going to realize they have no clue what the scriptures say. Let me see if I could get this prophecy out. I believe it's in Amos. Let me see.
But you know what baffles my mind too? Like, even my wife and I, we went to Portugal over the summer, and just everything we were reading about the Inquisition. Yes, baby. But even all the stuff that we were learning, it was like, man, how do you look at this stuff? All right, hang on, baby. How do you look at this stuff, see this stuff? And then even like with my limited knowledge of the Bible, being able to draw those correlations. And then some of these folks will still say, man, let's go back to the church and pray about it. And it's like, man, how do you go back into that?
It's
like,
comfort.
I mean, even like in Portugal, just they got markers there where they killed 4,500 men and left their bodies out in the street. The Catholic Church did. The dogs were eating the bodies. It's like they got all this history.
Yeah.
Like, they got the bones of the people they murdered still in the Catholic churches there to this day. It's like, yo, this is bananas. Like,
You know what influences people to do things like that is the fear of standing alone, right? Same thing with the Hebrew Israelites. They have a whole bunch of Freemason origin. Like, you can't go back in time unless you find out Freemason origin in the Hebrew Israelite organization. You're gonna find Knights of Templar, Freemasons in the Jesuit organization, the Catholic organization. And you're gonna find fraternities and Freemasonries and secret societies in the church organization. They all go back to the same place. Babylonian mysticism. Perpetuated through Rome, perpetuated through Greece, perpetuated through colleges, black colleges, white colleges, it don't matter. The idea of the Jesuit movement was to influence every single thing, every piece of education, every political, everything that speaks One of the main themes that the Catholic Church has is overcome learning with learning. You put out the truth, then I'm gonna put out twice as much lies. You put out a book on truth, I'm gonna put out 5 books teaching what I teach. So it's like, instead of attacking like they did with Tyndale and Luther and all of these people, I'm gonna create the schools, and I'm gonna teach you like that. So instead of me trying to focus on you with your little papers, which I did with Rome did before, and they lost, I'm gonna focus on building the schools politically, controlling what's given to you in the media. And then I'm gonna teach you like that. So your information is gonna be so minute to the plethora of lies that I'm gonna spread. So when people Google, they're gonna be like, oh, nah, what you're saying is not true because it says it right here. Oh, the museum says this, oh, the book says. They're gonna put out false ideas, false history, false conclusions in order to counter the truth. And this is where belief comes into play, because Yah is so amazing that he allows the most simplest breakdown of his word to be the most powerfulest. So to be the most powerful effect on the mind is the most simple breakdown of his word. While everybody's trying to be eloquent, all historical, all Google, Wikipedia, encyclopedia, everypedia, when in actuality, Yah just needs a willing heart, a willing mind, and a simple perspective, a clear perspective to look at the word, and he will reveal to you what it says. He doesn't need you to do all of that other stuff. You could do all that stuff if you want to, but he doesn't need you to be looking at all of these things. He just needs you to have a simple, childlike perspective so you can receive what he has for you. You know, go ahead, Brother Ben and Jamie. I found the verse, Mike. I'm gonna pull it up in a second.
It's so funny because not before, as the Father was waking me up, but before I was actually awake, so to speak, I actually worked for a Catholic diocese and the Catholic schools.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically with my background in IT and as a teacher, I actually worked specifically in IT with the schools because the teachers could talk to me and I actually understood what they're going through. So that was kind of how they used my skills. Ironically, being in the schools and watching what they were teaching the high schoolers, and I have this one specific memory of high school class, and it was specifically in religion class, and they were having a discussion about sin, and it had something to do with there was like a sin scale is how the teacher explained it, and every sin that you commit adds so many sin points, and then all your good deeds remove sin points, and they're talking about all this craziness, and not luckily, praise Yah that the Father had allowed me to know enough truth from the bad church I was going to that I recognized that as absolute falsehood. But
Right.
it was instances like that of seeing the way they teach people and how false it was, and everything that they were teaching was just so ludicrous that that's a large part of what the Father used to bring me out of the deception. But just to, like you were saying, they cover up the truth with these crazy teachings of things that make no sense if you actually read the word and can have eyes to see. But it was just crazy to be in the middle of it as I was coming out of it, and then to look back now, I absolutely had some kind of witchcraft over me, because I remember this moment where I finally decided to stop working there, where I had this I don't know if you've ever experienced, you go through something and you have this almost like you wake up. It's hard to explain. And Jadiel, maybe it's not what I think it is, but it was almost like this moment of all of a sudden I could see what was actually going on, and it was kind of like this, as if you were sleepwalking or something, and then all of a sudden you just know. And I assumed it was some kind of witchcraft that the diocese was doing, but like just looking back now, I can see everything that happened and how the Father protected me and brought me out of it. But it was just very interesting to see it from the inside, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know, my mother delved in the witchcraft, which she still does, but because she's from the Dominican Republic, like the major religion is Catholicism. You know, so Catholicism allows that type of practices in their whole organization. Like they don't frown upon the practicing of tarot cards and, you know, worshiping spirits because they do the same thing. My mother used to light the candles and doing voodoo, African voodoo and Native American voodoo. But if you go to the Catholic Church, they'll still light a candle for the dead spirits that they believe in too. You know, so they can't condemn witchcraft because they teach witchcraft. They perform witchcraft. All Hallows Eve, Halloween is coming. I may do a study on Halloween on the assembly. All Hallows Eve was October 31st, right? It used to be called Samhain, but anyway, we'll break that down. So All Hallows Eve is what they refer to it. Hallow meaning holy, holy evening, holy evening. You know what the next day was called? All Saints Day. So while the pagans believed in following the dead wicked spirits and hiding from the dead wicked spirits, then the Catholics said, let's honor the Holy Spirits that is roaming around watching over us now. Let's honor them. Because the word saint to the Catholics mean that you're alive, you're resurrected, and you're in heaven. When they make you a saint, it means that you have gone from, you are resurrected and allowed into heaven. The only person that can make you into a saint is the Pope. The Pope can saint people. You know how John Paul III became a saint is because the Pope made him a saint, meaning that he has the authority to take him out of purgatory and allow him to go into heaven and to watch over us and allow you to pray to him. So to be a saint means that the Pope has dedicated this person, and now this person can be prayed to. That you can pray to this person. Like right now, people can pray to Mother Teresa because they made her a saint. So now you can pray to her. So that's how they, I don't know how anything else, you know, it's crazy. Nobody looks at this religion. Like they take in the scriptures and they're like murdering it in the eyes of all these people. And they're just, you know, because of the laziness and the dependency that the people have on other people, they could say whatever they want to say. And it's sad.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's really, yeah.
Yeah, that's the right word. It's sick. It's sick.
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff they did with the kids, I mean, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like people still fighting these lawsuits and stuff. All this. I mean,
but they can't. There is no lawsuits because when they try to sue the Pope, because when the Catholic priests in the United States got caught with pedophilia, they got caught. People got caught. You know what they did? They moved them to a different parish. They moved them to a different Catholic church in a different state. And then when the Pope came, I think it was Pope Benedict, they wanted to sue the Catholic Church. Guess what happened after that, guys?
What?
Mr. George Bush gave him diplomatic immunity. You know what that means?
Mm-hmm.
That means you can't sue him for nothing. He could come here and do whatever he wants to do, whenever he wants to do it. And you can't say nothing about it. His priests could do whatever they want to do. You can't sue the church because those priests are attached to the church. And this government gave them immunity when they were being sued. So I'm not sure what people trying to make America great again. You gotta You got a long ways to go, but they ain't gonna be great again. It's gonna accomplish what Revelation 13 said it's gonna accomplish. It's gonna influence the world to do whatever they influence the world. Look at what it says here, Mike, and everybody. It says here, behold, this is Amos chapter 8, verse 11. We're gonna read verse 11 and 12. It says here, behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah Elohim, I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of the bread, nor a famine of water, but of hearing of the words of Yahuwah. And they shall wander from sea to sea, from the north even to the east, and they shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahuwah and shall not find it. Amos 8, verse 11 and 12. That's what's happening now. People are thinking they understand the word, and then when things don't happen according to what they've been preaching, they're going to run around looking for answers. People are going to try to make up their own thing. You know, people are always going to try to take things and make it political. When things are not political, it's just a distraction. Everything that we need to know is said. It's told to us what we need to worry about, what we need to focus on: righteousness, doing his commandments, walking according to his commandments, having the faith of yahushua. This is the primary goal. We get caught up in prophecy, meaning political prophecy, like prophecy of the nations. You missing out on what you are told to do. You see what I'm saying? And this is what's happening now. This is what always happens since I don't even know how long. All I know is from the 80s. Since the 80s, Ronald Reagan was in prophecy, Bush was in prophecy, Clinton was in prophecy, Obama's in Obama's in prophecy, Trump is in prophecy now. Stop. We need to stop doing it. Leave prophecy alone. Focus on righteousness. Walk according to his will, to the point where when they tell you you have to take this mark, you're going to stand up and you're going to say no. And you're not going to fear for your life. You're not going to try to save your life. You're going to be solid in the word of Yah. You're going to be connected to Yah. That's all you need to worry about. If we don't do that, then we're going to get that fear, the aluminum hats. We're going to be all the way over there with the conspiracy real theories, because a lot of these conspiracy theories are real. But what are you going to do about it? What do we know about Pizzagate? Pedophile ranks in the United States government. Okay. That's crazy. That should even more make us not rely on this place. We just was talking about the Zionists, the Rothschilds, right? All of these people in cahoots, the Vatican, the American government, the Russian government, the Russians and the Americans met with the Pope. You don't know what their plan is because they meet with them privately, no press. Every single president after JFK meets with the Pope to get inaugurated as an American president. What did they do? What did Trump do? He went to Mass. What did Biden do? He went to Mass. What did Clinton do? He went to Mass. What did Bush do? He went to Mass. You're not going to disconnect the Catholic Church from this situation, because the American government has to be the second beast. Rome is the first. Everybody has to rely on Rome to tell them what to do. So Rome came to remember a few years back on the Day of Atonement, Rome came to the American government to tell Congress about the laws, about how to make laws. And then they run around talking about church and state separate. Church and state separate, but then the Pope could come here to tell us how to make laws. It's a game. It's a game. It's all tranny stuff. It's a game. The transvestite stuff, that's just what people are doing that don't believe in Yah. What you got to worry about is the people saying they believe in Yah. The churches. The mass media about the Hebrew Israelites, the mass media about the churches, the mass media about the Catholics, the mass media, all of that stuff, that's what you got to worry about. When they make everybody follow after those things, and then they get caught off guard, they're gonna be running around like a head, like the chicken with no head, looking for the understanding of the word of Yah. And you know what? They can't find it. The 10 virgins, right? What does the lamp represent? The lamp is the word of Yah. What does the oil represent? The spirit. Have oil in your lamps. The oil, the spirit, has to tell you what the word of Yah says. What does the foolish virgins don't do? They have the word of Yah. They don't have no oil. So they can't turn on the word of Yah. They can't understand the word of Yah. So they're fools because they got caught up thinking that they're all good because they have a lamp when they don't even have the thing that allows them to turn it on. Most of these Hebrew Israelites don't even believe in the spirit. They believe that the word is the spirit. That will kind of mess up that whole parable of the oil and the lamp. If the word of Yah is the spirit, how can you not have oil in your lamp? If the oil represents the spirit and the word represents the lamp, those are two separate things. If you don't go get the oil, if you don't worry about being filled with the Ruach, filled with Yah's presence, being in his presence, consumed with Yah, if you're not focused on that, there's going to be a time where when it's time to wake up, you're not going to be able to wake up because you have no oil to understand what he says. And then there's going to be a famine. And you're not going to be able to get understanding. We have to, when you say we have to wake up Israel, we got to wake up for real. Don't forget about this stuff. Praise Yah that we're at this place, looking at his Torah, looking at Moses, the writings of Moses, trying to obey his commandments. This is where we should be. Diving into his word more. Let's study prophecy, absolutely, but not outside of the realm of walking in righteousness. Prophecy is secondary. It's always going to be secondary. Praise Yah that he shows us because he says, I want to tell you before it happens. I want to tell you before it happens. So yeah, study prophecy, but it's secondary. Jerusalem, Israel, all of this stuff, that's not even like a real thing. Let me show you a verse real quick. Oh, that's the phrase, right? Let me show you a verse real quick.
Is that a new one or?
Yeah, that's the new t-shirt. Ask Kevin. Kevin knows about it. It's Shabbat, and let me show you this verse real quick.
When we getting those t-shirts?
I don't know. I feel like I need to get the one. I need to make one. All right. Look at what it says here in Hebrews. Right? Hebrews, right? Letter to the Hebrews. See what it tells these Hebrews in Jerusalem right here. Look at what he says here. Verse 12. It says, wherefore Yahushua also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered outside of the gate. It says, let us go forth therefore unto him outside of the camp, bearing his reproach. Because here have we no continuing city. What is the here? We have no continuing city here, but we seek one to come. By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to Elohim continuously. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. What does it mean when it says, because here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come? What is the here? What city is here in that verse? Anybody?
Can you share your screen again?
Okay. Hebrews chapter 13. Looking at verse 14. But it says that Messiah was taken outside of the camp or outside of the city, and he was killed outside. And it says, let's go outside bearing his reproach, because here we have no continuing city, but we look for one to come. What is that saying? What's the here? What place is that they're saying?
Jerusalem.
Is it Earth? Is it?
No, it's a
Is it
city.
Jerusalem.
He sent the letter. He sent the letter to the Hebrews. Where was these Hebrews at? Hebrews was at Jerusalem.
Was.
They were at Jerusalem, guys. He says, we don't have no city here in Jerusalem. We are looking for one to come.
Which is the new Jerusalem.
Why is everybody looking at Jerusalem that's here? And Paul is like, we don't have no continuing city here. He said it while Jerusalem was still up. It wasn't even 70 AD at that time. Why are we looking at Israel for? It's a distraction. Let me show you another verse. Let me show you this verse real quick. Watch this. Galatians 4. Look at what it says here, my friends. Look at Galatians 4, verse 23 to 26. Look at what it says. He who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh, but he of the free woman was by promise. Which things are an allegory? For these are two covenants. One from Mount Sinai, which genders to bondage, which is Hagar. For this Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answers to Jerusalem, which is now, meaning the same spirit that was in Hagar was the same spirit at Mount Sinai where they made the golden calf. The same spirit is now in Jerusalem, which exists right now. And he says, this Jerusalem is in bondage with her children. Verse 26, but Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. Paul has said that this Jerusalem is in bondage with her children. Who's her children? The Hebrews that didn't believe. The Jews. But then it says, but there's a Jerusalem that is above. That's different from the Jerusalem that is now. So what are we looking at Jerusalem for? Do we need to go back over there for feasts, for Shabbats? No, it's in bondage. We have no continuing city here. We're looking for one to come. Jerusalem, which is above, which is the mother of us all. The city that Messiah says, I'm going to go prepare a place. I'm going to prepare a place. So where I am, you will be also. And if that's where I am, I will come back to you to take you upon myself. John 14, right? What is he going to make for us? City not built with man's hands. So that Jerusalem over there had nothing to do with prophecy besides what the nations are supposed to do. Now, I wanted to go into Daniel chapter 11.
Parallel on each rib. Must select.
I wanted to go into Daniel chapter 11. I'm sorry, you said something, Helena?
No, it wasn't me.
Oh, okay. I wanted to go into Daniel chapter 11 because it talks about the nations. It talks about the Greece, and then it went into Rome, and then it talks about going how one of the areas of one of the empires that had formulated after the Greek Empire, which is one of them is Turkey. And it talked about how the king of the north, which is Turkey, is going to go into the pleasant land or Israel. Now, Turkey has just been making mention of how he's warning United States if they try to come in, then he's going to come in and help the Palestinians. So all we could do is see how that goes. But as far as us looking at Israel as something like that, as anything pertaining to us, it doesn't. It doesn't have anything pertaining to us. And the more that people try to point their attention to that, saying that that's happening for us, that's only more of a distraction to take us away from focusing on the righteousness of Yah, his law, allowing him to write his law in our hearts, understanding his law so we could apply it to our life, etc., etc. Nothing else matters more than that. So praise Yah. We're gonna come back next week. Let's try to think of some topics before, so that way we could go right into it. Unless we want to do this Q&A, it could be. We're gonna do a Q&A next week. Let's do a Q&A. All right. So praise Yah. And
Is that 9
Praise
o'clock?
Yah.
Sorry,
Praise Yah.
will it be
Praise
the
Yah.
same time?
Yeah, it's gonna be the same time, 9 o'clock.
Okay.
9 o'clock. But next week is gonna be the first proverb study at 7:30 with the Assembly of Yahuwah. I want to see if I could go live on YouTube as well with the proverb study. So 7:30 to 8:30 is gonna be the proverb study, and then I'm gonna hop on this at 9.
Okay.
So is it the same Zoom that Dante sent us in the family chat?
No, it's gonna be it's gonna be a different Zoom, but it's gonna be live on YouTube as well. So if you go on YouTube and you subscribe to Assembly of Yahuwah, you'll be able to watch it.
Okay.
But this one will be on this same Zoom, won't it?
Yeah, but this one is gonna be on this Zoom. This is a separate one from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one that you're gonna have on Proverbs, that's not gonna be a Zoom. It's gonna be that I could watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's gonna be on Zoom. It's just that it's gonna be in a different platform. So, but we're gonna open it up for everybody to watch it on Zoom. If you're not a part of that platform, you can still be a part of it on Zoom and interact with chatting and stuff.
Okay. Because I had asked Dante because I enjoyed the Bible study when I sat down and attended.
Yeah.
And to make sure, I was asking Dante because I want to make sure I get consistency because it's good,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Try to if you want to join the Zoom, you could go to I think Dante could help you do that on assemblyyahuah.com. Sign up to join if you want to join it. But,
okay.
But we're gonna try to be live on YouTube, so we're gonna do that too.
Okay.
And then don't forget the Friday Q&As on Assembly of Yahuwah. So
Okay. I'm gonna ask Dante